So when you're working out of desperation, you're investigating basically all available solutions, even things that a normal person would like just immediately write off, right? You're in that kind of brainstorming phase of just throw everything on the table. We're going to try absolutely everything.
Well, think about the kinds of things that humankind has done out of desperation.
Yeah, and
like the stories you hear, right? Like what's the guy who got lodged between a boulder and a whatever,
from
like,
the 127 Hours movie.
Yeah, whatever that guy
the movie
was
based off of him. Yeah.
But like
and he chopped off his
that was his solution,
yes.
right? Like you would not come to that solution
unless you were in a place of desperation.
You were in a place of complete desperation. Right. And maybe that's a weird example because it's like the thing that happened was traumatic and the solution is a traumatic thing.
And
that's not always the case, but
you have very few options at that point versus in some cases when you're looking to solve a problem and it's out of desperation, there's a seemingly infinite set of solutions and you've exhausted the obvious one. So now we're going into the seemingly crazy, but potentially maybe that Hail Mary that pans out. And, I think about some examples of like Mikhaila Peterson, Jordan Peterson, stuff like that. But also, this got me thinking about sometimes the solutions that we come to don't seem logical at all. And we may be even like averse to trying those solutions for a number of reasons. The first could be we're expecting something else. Because by the nature of this, it's kind of a crazy thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could be expecting something else. You could not entirely want to accept the problem still. You could not want to accept the solution. You could just think that the solution is, let's say, like beneath you. And I was thinking about a story from the Bible. It's from 2 Kings 5. And it's kind of this interesting story where a military general is named Naaman is struck with leprosy, and he talks to some people, and they say, go to this prophet in Israel and ask him to cure your leprosy. And he goes there, and the prophet tells him, go and bathe in the river Jordan. I think it's 7 times. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he goes away very unhappy, very frustrated. And you would think, like, being told the solution to something as serious as this, like putting it in context, like you were not able to be around people. I mean,
you were an outcast.
Yeah. You're an absolute outcast, and you're suffering serious physical afflictions.
Mm-hmm.
And presumably he's being presented with a solution, and yet he's ready to walk away. Now, one of his servants convinces him otherwise, and some of his retorts are essentially, this is beneath me. I should go bathe in other places. How is this bathing going to help me? Like, there's every excuse seemingly in the book. But his servant says to him, if this prophet had asked for something even more difficult, but if you thought that it related, wouldn't you have tried it? And he kind of mulls it over for a second and decides, yeah, he would have. So essentially the servant convinces him, well, why don't we just try it, right? You're in this place of desperation, kind of. Mm-hmm. Like, let's just try everything under the sun. And he goes and he bathes in the Jordan 7 times, and then he is cleaned, and he no longer has leprosy, just as the prophet told him. And, it speaks to some of our hesitation when a solution comes from an unlikely source. Some of our hesitation when maybe we want to sit or wallow in our difficult circumstances. It speaks to our aversion to certain solutions. Like I've heard a number of things about like Mikhaila Peterson and Jordan and their very odd diet. And I've heard so many people that are so unbelievably negative about it. And I just think, like, what if there's a solution like that that's seemingly crazy that you're missing out on because you're unwilling to try it, because you're unwilling to accept it, because you're looking for a solution in a different spot?